Hello, guys. How are you? We start our lecture today regarding cyber law, and it is a very interesting subject. You also know this, and we have been discussing this subject since a very long time. And I hope you will learn this. You will enjoy this subject, and we discussed many chapters before in the past, and in the continuation of those lectures, we discuss our chapter today, which is known as credit card fraud. Okay, our chapter name is credit card fraud, and in this chapter, we will discuss so many things regarding credit card frauds. That how do people do credit card fraud, and we consider this is a cyber crime, and this credit card fraud is a very common fraud in nowadays. This is a very common crime nowadays. People are committing this, and the whole world is associated with these type of crimes or these type of cyber thefts. Okay, so we discuss our chapter, which is known as cyber card fraud. At first, we have to know what is the meaning of cyber card fraud, and cyber card fraud is an inclusive term of fraud committed using a payment card, and such as credit card or a debit card. The purpose may be obtain goods or services, or to make payment to another account which is controlled by a criminal. Okay, the payment card industry data security standards (PCI DSS) is the data security standard created to help businesses process card payments securely and reduce card frauds. Okay, so the credit card fraud can be authorized where the genuine customer themselves processes a payment to another account which is controlled by a criminal. Okay, or it is unauthorized where the account holder does not provide, you can say this, that authorization for the payment to proceed, and that the transaction is carried out by a third party. My dear students, in 2018, unauthorized financial fraud losses across payment cards and remote bank total, which is of 844 million pound sterling in the United Kingdom. Okay, whereas the banks and card companies prevented 1.66 billion pound in unauthorized fraud in 2018. That is the equivalent of you can say this, £2 sterling in every £3 sterling of attempted fraud being stopped. Okay, so in the United Kingdom, in British. Okay, the credit cards are more secure than ever, with regulators, card providers, and banks taking considerable time and efforts to collaborate with the investigators worldwide to ensure fraudsters are not successful cardholders. Money is usually protected from scammers with regulations that make the card provider and bank accountable. Okay, the technology and security measures behind credit cards are becoming increasingly sophisticated, making it harder for fraudsters to steal the money. Okay, and there are many things in this chapter which we gonna discuss. Approximately, we can say this, that seven things which we gonna discuss thoroughly regarding the credit card fraud. The first one is this, that how can payment card fraud occurs. I mean, how this card fraud occurs in the very first thing. The second thing is that which we gonna discuss, that how to prevent the payment card fraud. What are the third thing which we gonna discuss is that the types of payment card frauds in this: the application fraud, account taking over, social engineering fraud, skimming, okay, unexpected repeat billing. Number fourth one is the regulation and governance. The fifth one is the vendors versus the merchants. The sixth one is the famous credit card credit fraud attacks. Okay, and then the countermeasures which is made by the merchants, by credit issuers, okay, and by banks, financial institutions, by government and regulatory bodies and by the card holders. So these are the things which we're gonna discuss in today's lecture, and I hope it's a very interesting chapter. And nowadays, okay, so the very first thing which we discussed, that how can payment card fraud occurs. There are two kinds of card fraud. The first one is the card present fraud, not so common nowadays, and card not present fraud, which are more common. Okay, so the compromise can occur in a number of ways and can usually occur without the knowledge of the card holder. The internet has made a database security lapses particularly costly in some cases. Millions of accounts have been compromised. Stolen cards can be reported quickly by cardholders, but a compromised account's details may be held by a fraudsters for months before any theft, making it difficult to identify the source of the compromise. The cardholder may not discover fraudulent use until receiving a statement. The cardholders can mitigate this fraud risk by checking their account frequently to ensure there are not any suspicious or unknown transactions. Okay, where a cardholder is lost or stolen, it may be used for illegal purchases until the holder notifies the issuing bank and the bank puts a block on the account. For example, if I have a credit card, okay, and I will go to a merchant, and the merchant is a fraudster, and he will commit a crime or a fraud with me, and suddenly, if I will not report my bank from the call center and I will not block my card, maybe the same fraudster will continue or repeating these type of fraud transactions. Okay, so my responsibility is to inform my bank about this type of theft or this type of fraud, and my bank definitely will block my account. Okay, and another thing which is my benefit, for example, if bank money is insured, if the money from my credit card or my debit card, if I'm taking this, if I'm borrowing this, if I'm using this, okay, so my money is insured. If I will report my from the call center to my concerned bank, definitely they will pay me back because of the insurance, because my money is insured, and I will claim my insurance. I will definitely claim my insurance because my money is insured. Okay, so if any theft occurs, if any fraud occurs, if any payment fraud occurs, then definitely the bank will return me or pay me back with the help of the insurance. This is a very beneficial clause for the customer point of view. But for example, that if I will do irresponsible work and I will not inform to my bank, so the same fraudster will again and again misusing my credit card, and I lost my money until and unless I will be bank default because I have not informed my bank on time. So this is my duty. To inform my to inform my bank on time if any fraud occurs, in my credit cards theft. So definitely this is my duty to inform my bank within 24 hours. And if, for example, if my card is stolen, okay, is lost or stolen, this is my responsibility that it may be used for the illegal purchases under the holder notifies the issuing bank and the bank puts a block on the account. Most banks have free 24 hours telephone numbers to encourage prompt reporting. Still, it is possible for a thief to make unauthorized purchases on a card before the card is cancelled. Okay, so these are the things and how a credit card fraud occurs. The second one is the prevention of payment card fraud. So how to prevent this? This is a very, very good thing. So card information is stored in a number of formats. Okay, card number, formerly the primary account number, which is known as PAN, primary account number is the first 16 digits number which is written in front of the credit card or the debit card, are often embossed or imprinted on the card, and the magnetic strip on the back contains the data in machine readable format. Fields can vary, but the most common include the name of the cardholder, card number, expiration, and the verification code, which is known as the CVV. In Europe and Canada, most cards are equipped with an EMV chip, which requires a 4 to 6 digit PIN to be entered into the merchant's terminal before payment will be authorized. However, a PIN is not required for online transactions in some European countries. If you don't have a card with the chip, you may be asked for photo identification at the point of sale. Okay, that if the magnetic chip is not there in the card, you need a photo identification. This is also a very good thing which we're gonna discuss. Okay, so in some country, a credit card holder can make contactless payment for goods and services by tapping their card against a NFC reader, which is a magnetic strip reader, without the need for a PIN or signature if the card falls under a predetermined limit. Okay. However, a stolen credit card or debit card could be used for a number of smaller transactions prior to fraudulent activity being flagged. The card issuers maintain several countermeasures, including software that can estimate the probability of fraud. For example, a large transaction occurring a great distance from the cardholder's home might seem suspicious. The merchant may be instructed to call the card issuers for verification, or to decline the transaction, or even to hold the card and reuse to return it to the customer. Okay, so the types of payment card fraud. Application fraud. Application fraud takes place when a person uses stolen or fake documents to open an account in another person's name. Okay, criminals may steal or can make fake documents such as the utility bills and bank statements to build up a personal profile. When an account is opened up fake or stolen documents, the fraudsters could then withdraw cash or obtain credit in the victim's name. To protect yourself, keep your details, provide and store sensitive documents in a secure place, and be careful how you dispose of personal identifiable information, and etc. etc. Okay, so the account takeover refers to the act by which fraudsters will attempt to assume control of a customer's account, that is credit card, emails, banks, SIM cards, and more. The control at the account level offers high returns of fraudsters. According to the fraudsters risk-based authentication, which is known as RBA. RBA is a terminology which is known as the risk-based authentication. It plays a key role in the risk mitigation. A fraudster basically uses parts of the victim's identity, such as an email addresses, and gain access to the financial accounts. Okay, this individual then intercepts communication about the account to keep the victims blind to any threats. Victims are often the first to detect account takeover when they discover charges on monthly installments they did not authorize or multiple questionable withdrawals. Recently, there has been increase in the number of account takeovers since the adoption of EMV technology, which makes it more difficult for the fraudsters to clone physical credit cards. Okay, so among some of the most common methods by which a fraudster will commit an account takeover, including proxy-based checker, one-click apps, brute force attacks, phishing, and malware. Phishing is a swapping of a credit cards. When you go to a superstore or a grocery store, there is a swiper machine, and in the swiper machine, the the credit cards, the merchant or the seller will do the swapping. That swap, when they will do the swapping, suddenly they will keep inside the card inside the machine, and the machine will read this, and a slip will come out, which means that the transaction is has already paid. Okay, so among some of the most common methods by which a fraudster will commit an account takeover, including this is known as the proxy fraud, the checker fraud, okay, or the swiper fraud. Okay, so this is a very common fraud nowadays people are doing. Our other methods include dumpster diving to find personal information in discarded mail, and outright buying list of files. Uh, so these are the frauds in which the credit cards are in nowadays in in the world is happening. Okay, so the social engineering fraud, there are another fraud which is known as the social engineering fraud. And in the social engineering fraud, you know, social engineering fraud can occur when a criminal possesses us as someone else, which results in a volunteer transfer of money or information to the fraudsters. Okay, so the fraudsters are turning to more sophisticated methods of scamming people and businesses out of money. A common tactics is sending spoof emails impersonating a senior member of staff and trying to deceive employees into transferring money to fraudulent bank account. Okay, fraudsters may use a variety of techniques in order to solicit personal information by pretending to be a bank or payment processors. The telephone phishing is the most common in social engineering technique to gain the trust of the victim. Businesses can protect themselves with a dual authorization process for the transfer of funds that requires authorization from at least two persons, and a callback procedure to a previously established contact number rather than any contact information included with the payment request. Your bank must refund you for any unauthorized payment. However, they can refuse or refund on the basis it can prove you authorized the transaction, or it can prove that you are at fault because you acted it deliberately or failed to protect your details that allowed the transactions. Okay, so these are the things, my dear students. These are the common frauds nowadays. People are doing this, and this is a social engineering. And with the help of these frauds, people are misusing your details. And another example of this, I want to give you a very good example. Actually, nowadays there are many call centers which are the fake call center, and they are sending you fake calls. They are sending you the fake calls, and they will call you that I am calling with your Busan Bank or your KEB Hana Bank. Okay, and they will call you, and they will ask you your personal identification numbers. So never give them any personal identification number. This thing is very less in South Korea, because South Korea is a developed state, but in Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, these are the third world countries, and people are using this because these third world countries are not good in terms of the technology. And if they are not good in terms of the technology, so definitely these countries suffer a lot these type of theft these type of theft frauds. And my dear students, these things are very common in Pakistan, also in my country. I also know this. People are making fake call centers, and they are calling you from fake numbers. Okay, and those numbers are matchable from the bank's call center numbers, and it starts from 00 plus plus, from United States as well, plus 1, because plus 1 is the code of United States, plus 1 is also a code of Canada. Okay, so from Canada or from United States, they were their number. And how they will do this? With the help of the Google. In the Googles, in our Gmail account, we have an application which is known as calling, and per one day we can do 50 calls free of cost. Okay, and those free of cost calling, you can also see these type of callings in the YouTube. In the YouTube there are many films uploaded by the people, at how you will use your Gmail account to call your customer, or because there is an application over there, so directly you will call this from your email, from a Google email Gmail servers. Okay, and the very interesting thing is that when the call reach to the customer directly to their phone, the number will come from +1. The +1 is the code of the United States. This is a very interesting thing, believe me. Okay, so my dear student, these are the things which we gonna discuss this, and we already discussed this, so many things which we had discussed. Okay, so the businesses can protect themselves with dual authorization processes of the funds transfers, for the fund transfer of funds that requires authorization from at least two persons, and a call back procedure to a previously established contact numbers, and etc, etc. Okay, the another one is skimming fraud. Skimming fraud is a very interesting fraud. Skimming is the theft of personal information, uh, having used in an otherwise a normal transaction. The thief can procure a victim card's numbers using basic methods such as photocopying receipts, or more advanced methods, such as using a small electronic devices which are known as the skimmers. There are small electronic devices in many stores you will find. You have the seller, what they did, they will put inside, the cashier will put inside your card in the skimming machine. Okay, and for example, if your bill is suppose 10,000 won. Okay, so what they do, they press in the 10,000 won, four zeros, 1 plus 4 zeros, so they will put 5 zeros, which is known as 100,000 wons. Okay, so these type of tricks, with the help of these type of tricks, the people can make the fraud, and when the bill come, it will write only 10,000. One zero is missing, but the zero is coming in your bank transaction. So this is a common fraud in which these stores or the grocery stores are doing this. So always remember, always, if there any message will come from your bank, read the message, that how much you spend the money in the grocery store, how much you spend the money, because sometimes these frauds happen can anywhere in any part of the world. So beware of these type of. So this is the beauty of this subject. Okay, this is the beauty of this learning, that this subject give us the awareness. This subject give us the proper awareness, that how we become aware of these type of frauds, these type of fraudulent things which the people are doing, which the people are doing inside our communities, inside our societies, because there are a lot of criminal people who will do these type of criminal acts. Okay, so call centers are another area where skimming can easily occur. Skimming can occur, or can also occur, at merchants where a third party card reading device is installed. Okay, it either outside a card swiping terminal. This device allows a thief to capture a customer's card information, including their PIN, with each card swipe. Skimming is difficult for the typical card holder to detect, but given a large enough samples, it is fairly easy for the card user to detect. The issuer collects a list of all the credit card holders who have complained about fraudulent transactions, and then uses data mining to discover relationships among them and the merchants they use. This is the sophisticated use of fraud. Merchants must ensure the physical security of their terminals, and penalties for merchants can be severe if they are compromised. Okay, so ranging from large fines by the issuer to complex exclusions of the system, which can be death below to businesses such as restaurants where credit card transactions are the norms. Okay, so instances of skimming have been reported where the preparators have put over the card slot of an ATM, which is known as the automated teller machines, a device that reads the magnetic strip, you know, or the user unknowingly passes their credit card through it. These devices are often used in the conjunction with the camera to read the user's pin at the same time. This method is being used in many parts of the world, including South America, Argentina, and Europe, etc., etc. So these are the things we gonna discuss today, my dear students, regarding the credit card fraud. This is our chapter name. I hope you learn this. I hope you enjoy this, and I'm repeating my request, which I require, which is my common request in every week, that please submit me your assignments and your projects on time, because there will be full online semester and there will be an online examination, and the online examination is the same examination which we already sent it to you or uploaded in the form of assignments. Your assignments and your case studies or your projects are your final examination, so please send it to me on time. And if as soon as you will send it to me, if you give it to me, I will give you the gradings. Ignore this message to those students who already submitted to me, but it is for only for those students who have not submitted their assignments on time. So please submit it to me. I will give you the gradings, and it is good for everybody. Okay, so I hope you will learn this, you enjoy this. If you have any comments, so you have to comment me in my YouTube channel, also in my email address also, and my YSU cyber law website as well. I will welcome you, and I will answer you promptly. So thank you very much. Till then, to be continued, and goodbye.